20 years ago this week, Hurricane Katrina hit the Gulf Coast and forever changed the landscape. Bay St. Louis, Mississippi, near the Louisiana state line, took a direct hit from the storm. That storm was a Category 3 with winds around 125 miles per hour when it hit Mississippi. WBIR and East Tennessee adopted Bay St. Louis to help, and that is where we find 10 News anchors Robin Wilhoit and John Becker this afternoon. Hi again.
Brittany, welcome from Lemoyne's Landing here on beautiful Mississippi's coastline. Bay St. Louis, of course, it is getting ready to mark its 1-year anniversary as this community gets ready to mark a somber anniversary, 20 years since Hurricane Katrina barreled down on this region.
It's a big part of our coverage, the rebuilding effort, but also there were evacuees from this area that saw Knoxville as a refuge. And one of the people who welcomed them into our community was former Mayor Bill Haslam.
But FEMA just really couldn't give us a schedule and say, here's who's coming and when, et cetera. So it kind of came in bursts and trickles, and they would typically fly into the airport, and then we would set them, usually I would go on the airplane, the commander of the air base would go in, I'd say, hey, welcome to Knoxville. The commander would explain how the process is going. We had buses set up to bring folks here, or to some different churches that were around town as well. We were trying to not, flood the zone, if you want a bad analogy in this case, but not overwhelm anyone. Everything they had was in a garbage bag. And they're holding kids and sometimes, some cases pets, but everything they had was with them, and they had no idea what was going to happen to what they left behind. The worst events bring out both sometimes, in this case, the worst of Mother Nature, but also sometimes the worst in human nature as well. But more often than not, and it's one of the rewards of being in office, you see how many great people raise their hand and say, I want to help. And that'll actually, if you ask me about Knoxville and Katrina, that will be my lasting memory.
Back live here in Bay St. Louis, Mississippi, Robin. Mayor Haslam went on to become governor of the state of Tennessee, witnessed a lot of disasters in his tenure in both places, but he says Katrina really stands out.
And that was certainly the case for another person from East Tennessee, former Knox County Sheriff Tim Hutchison. In the hours after Katrina hit, he got a call from a colleague in New Orleans, just down the road from us, saying, we need you here now with helicopters. People are on top of their roofs. They're surrounded by water and they need to be rescued. That story coming up in the 6 o'clock hour.
Brittany, more of our coverage on the East Tennessee connections to this place, 600 miles south on the Gulf Coast, coming up. For now, we say goodbye from Bay St. Louis, Mississippi.
All right.